In this video, I wanted to talk about 5 harsh realities about New World, and one of the expectations I think that should be set on 5 different things, and this will avoid burnout or you being unhappy about the game. As always, if you think I forgot something, or maybe you have a different take on one of the different realities that I'll set out here, please leave it in the comments below. But let's jump right in. To set the stage, New World is set as a game where you can do everything. Unlike a lot of different MMOs out there where you are pigeonholed into doing certain things, New World is a place where you can use any weapon, do any trade skill, and pretty much be whatever you want. If you are unhappy with what you are doing, you can change to a different weapon or do a new trade skill, and that is wonderful. But I think that that perception around the game can also set people up to feel like they have no direction, and that can be a double-edged sword when you're talking about a game like this. So now that's kind of outlined, let's get into the first harsh reality that I think people should accept about New World, and that is that you probably won't own the market or have massive amounts of gold. When people start New World, I think there's a lot of them out there that have this vision of becoming super rich in the market and having a ton of gold that is available to them. And the reality is that the market can be very difficult to make profit in. And if you don't play it right, it actually is going to go the opposite, and you'll find that you become broke very quickly. I know there's a lot of guides out there that try to teach people things that they can do to make money. And I definitely would make the argument that if you followed some of these guides and stuck to something, you'll at least make some gold in New World. But with the number of guides out there that I see and the number of views that I see on these videos, I think there is a perception around gold in this game where people think they need to make a massive amount of it in order to be successful in the game. I think that is a reality that needs to be shattered, and I wish more people understood that making gold in this game is not everything. And if you don't make a ton of money in your adventures in the market, it's okay, and you can still have fun in the game and still have plenty of other things that you can do. The second reality is that you may not get all best in slot gear or even ever hit max gear score. And that's also okay. I think YouTube probably is a big contributing factor to this reality that we now live in, and that is where everything needs to be optimized. And I'm sure I've posted my own videos that don't help out in this regard, but centering people back to the reality that running the gear you currently have, which may not be best in slot gear, is okay. And don't feel like you can't do some of the mutations or the raid or some of the higher content, even like Cutlass Keys, because you don't have best in slot gear and you might just get owned by other people. It is perfectly fine to jump into this content and give it a good try. And you might even find out that the gear you currently have equipped is okay. I think this reality of trying to seek out that best in slot item can be very damaging in a lot of ways and might prohibit some people or create a world where some people think their gear is not good enough to do certain content. And I definitely think that's a reality that should be broken. The third reality I would say need to be broken is that you don't need to optimize a leveling route or hit max level in 10 hours. And if you don't do it, it doesn't make you a failure. As it currently stands, I am level 37 in the game on a character that I started when the fresh start servers came out. It has been 3 days and I just hit the halfway point on leveling, and that's okay with me. I've spent most of my time in the town making equipment and selling on the market, and it has been so much fun. Does it slightly upset me that I can't join all of these people who keep posting about different runs that they're making and all the elite chest areas that are being salvaged right now? Absolutely. But at the same time, I'm happy posting the tools that I'm making and making a good profit on the market right now. I'm sure really soon I'll deflect, play the main story, and be really happy doing that as well, and eventually hitting max levels so that I can join these chest runs. But for now, I'm okay not being at max gear score and having a bunch of best in slot items, or being at max level after the first week, if even I hit it then. That's okay. My next reality is that PvP may not be your thing, and that's okay. Having said that, I do think that PvP is what will hold this game together, and honestly is the late game that most people should probably try to do because it will keep you coming back. I don't think the PvE content is all there to really keep people coming back beyond once they farm all the expeditions and have everything that there is. PvP will be the thing that makes it to where people keep coming back and keep doing the wars and keep going to Cutlass Key and keep doing all these things. But having said that, it doesn't mean you have to be the best. It doesn't mean you have to lead the leaderboards in PvP Arena, or that you have to have all the best gear from Cutlass Keys. It is perfectly fine to log on, play a little bit of PvP, maybe win some battles, maybe lose others, and have a blast doing that. Don't feel like that just because you can't compete in PvP, or every time you do a 1v1 duel and lose, that it is awful and you need to quit the game. Maybe PvP isn't your thing, and that's okay. Before we get into my last reality, if you found this useful so far, I would greatly appreciate a like, and do me a favor and comment below on things that you either agree with or disagree with, or just different opinions in general down below. As always, on your way back up, be sure to hit that subscribe button. My last reality is on PvE, and that is maybe running mutated expeditions or doing the raid is not for you, and that's okay. I have had a blast running mutated expeditions and challenging myself to get to the highest tier of mutations for each expedition. I really enjoy the PvE content, but just because you don't doesn't mean you have to hang up the game or that it's not a game for you. The reality is maybe running the expedition once to get the story is enough, and you shouldn't feel like just because you don't want to run them more doesn't mean you don't have other things you can do in the game, and doesn't mean there's not plenty of PvP content that can keep you preoccupied while we're waiting on other things to come up. I recommend you explore all of the various different activities in the game, and if you feel like you are forced into doing a certain activity, but you're not having fun, stop doing that activity. The wonderful thing about New World, circling back to the first thing we touched up on, is that you are able to do everything. The same problem that exists with this game, where people may not feel like they have direction, knowing exactly what they can do because they can do everything, is also the same solution, that you can find viable ways to level or get better gear or have fun doing just about anything in this game. And so many people that I see complaining on the internet or complaining in chat about various different systems or different things that are awful in the game could all be solved, I think, with the reality that you don't have to do those things. When New World first came out, if you weren't running chest runs, there's a good chance you probably wouldn't get your watermark up. And for those who don't know about watermarks, it is the system where it increases the drops that you're receiving. Now, if you don't want to run the higher content to get that gear, go to the store and buy it. Do some of the content that gets you gold in other ways, and turn around and use that gold to just buy the gear that you want, so you don't have to run the raid or do Cutlass Keys if it feels miserable to you. I know this was a little bit of a different pace on the game, but I see a lot of people, even just within the first few days, already kind of burning themselves out of the game. And I think this is a lot of what had to do with the problem in the initial release. Although I understand most of the problem came from the lack of content, but I think the expectation that you have going into this game can make it to where this game can be enjoyable for a very long time. I hope you guys found this useful, and if you did, I would greatly appreciate a like, Comment below if you have a different opinion, and why don't you check out my New World playlist where I have a lot of other videos that you might find useful. As always, I hope to see you guys in Eternum.